Hey, what's up, Golf Strategy School? Marty back here with you again. And I know we've been doing interviews more often again, and I wanted to do another interview, and I wanted to do it from a slightly different perspective. So I want to introduce to you Henry McGannon. Henry is he's a damn good player, first and foremost, but he's also a caddy, and he is the founder of realgolfers.co, fantastic online clothing brand. I'm actually wearing one of their shirts right now. It's one of those where it's crazy comfortable, and I promise you, you don't have to fuss with this whole, I'm pulling up my left sleeve forever so I can hit my big drive. It's the nice thing about the way the fabric kind of holds you. Henry, thank you so much for joining us. How are we doing today?
I'm doing well. I'm excited to be here. Thanks for having me on the show.
First and foremost, I mean, what should people expect from a quality caddying experience?
There's a lot to expect. We can help players in a lot of different ways. I would say first and foremost, we're just going to be there with you, enjoying the round, making it a more pleasurable experience, just hanging out, good company, good jokes, talking about golf. And on top of that, we're going to help you play your best golf.
Yeah, that's really I think that's what people realize after the fact.
Yeah.
And a lot of times I think the people that I've talked to, in their experience, it's, oh man, like I had an opportunity to play at a course with caddies like 4 or 5 times. I never took the caddy. What the heck was I thinking? When we're talking about caddying, what do you figure out how to phrase this? What do you think is the most important skill a caddy can bring to the table?
That's a great question. I would say the most important skill that a caddy could bring to the table would just be course knowledge and communication. So if you can't communicate with your player, it's really hard to help them. And every player is different. Like for you're reading a putt for a guy and you say right edge, he might think it's inside the right edge, so he needs to keep it inside the hole. Other guys might think that's outside the right edge. So you really need to make sure you communicate those little things. And on top of that, you really have to establish trust. Like first impressions are huge with caddying, just like anything in life. If the player doesn't really have complete faith in you, it's not going to be a great relationship, because golf, you have to be so committed to every shot. If the player doesn't fully trust the caddy, it's not going to be as fruitful of a relationship as it possibly can be.
What do you think is the most like the biggest kind of diametrically opposed, the biggest switch you've gotten someone to make when you were caddying?
Man, that's a great question. I would say putting is a big one, but there's a lot of times with the ocean course. So the ocean course is super windy, and a lot of times players will want to chip like you did. And if it's downwind on the ocean course, the ball will just, even on like a 10-yard chip shot, the ball will just keep rolling and keep rolling, and it'll just roll all the way off the green if it's downwind. Huh. So just like you said, anytime somebody has a wind putt or shot from just off the, I'm going to putt it. Whereas if they're chipping or putting into the wind from off the green, they can just throw it up in the air, and the wind is so out there, they'll just knock the ball down and it'll just sit right where it lands. So I would say something that people don't expect me to tell them to do is think about the wind on like 10-yard shots, because it's really important out there. And I never realized that until I met Gary Player out at the ocean course, and he was
nice.
the one who, yeah, it was cool. He was the one who said, you really have to pay attention to the wind on these chip shots out here. And I'd never even thought about that until he said that. And it's so important on a course like that.
Is obviously we're all used to we know the caddy's going to carry the bag. We know that once they get a feel for like our distances and our clubs, they might start making recommendations there. But what would you say is like the normal scope of caddy duties?
I'd say the main thing is just making sure the guest or the player has a good time on the course. You got to know your audience. So a lot of guys or ladies really just, they want to play well. They want to shoot the best number they can. And in those situations, you just do everything you can to learn everything about their game as quickly as possible. Get them to make adjustments for the course and the conditions. And then you have players who just want to have fun. And they want to drink beer and they want to have a good time. And we're not going to drink beer out because we want to. But if someone just wants to have a good time, then we'll just, if they hit it in the hazard, be like, all right, we'll just drop one up here at 150 and we'll try to make a par. And whatever it takes to help the player have the best experience possible.
Very cool. Yeah. So if you get a bachelor party out there versus you get a single who's you've seen on the putting green for like the last hour and a half. Like, okay, that might be slightly different perspectives.
Yeah, it's always a good sign when you see a guy go to the putting green before he hits balls.
There we go. Yeah. When you are helping that person who is trying to, shoot their personal best or whatever, roughly how many holes does it take you to kind of learn their game, their system, their thought process before you feel like you can really start contributing?
At the ocean course, I would say it's 4 holes. So the first hole is like wide open. You can hit driver, you can hit 3-wood. It's not very long. You see what tees they're playing. So the first hole, you see them hit some pretty easy shots, see how they do there. And then the second hole is the easy play. You have to carry it like up to 250 off the tee. So you'll see how far they carry the driver, whether they're comfortable hitting driver off the tee, because a lot of guys just want to hit 4-iron all day. And then the fourth hole is a forced layup. So you'll see how they do with like a 3-iron off the tee or a 3-wood. You'll see how they do with the driver. You'll see how they do around the greens by that point in the round. And after 4 holes, usually at the ocean course, I can tell exactly what a guy's game or a lady's game is going to be like through the rest of the day.
That's cool. Yeah, because you're getting kind of the full scope view of how they handle all those different situations.
Yeah, you really, at the ocean course in the first 4 holes, you have to hit every shot.
Wow. That's good advertising for the ocean course, but
I'm telling you, I'm just like a walking billboard for that place.
You played collegiately, you've won some amateur tournaments. When we talk about like the differences in golfers that you may be like more of that have fun, just let's make a par from 150 type of golfers, to people who start to get into that competitive tournament level, where do you see the biggest differences, whether it's play, mindset, wherever it falls?
It's definitely mindset. Like you see a lot of guys, and this isn't as much guys that I've caddied, friends that I have that I play golf with, who when we go out on, a relaxed day, we're teeing off at 4 p.m. It's just us. There's absolutely no nerves going on. They play great. But then as soon as we start playing for $20 or we start playing in a tournament, it's just a totally different story. And I don't know why. Honestly, I've been trying to figure it out my whole life, trying to figure out how to be comfortable under pressure, what causes us to feel so tense under pressure, because you can't do anything in life well while you're tense, including golf, especially golf.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially golf. So I would say the main difference there is just who can play well, who can relax when it really matters. And it's really just a matter of tricking yourself into doing it, because everybody wants to play well. We all practice, we all play, we all. That's
what we're here for.
Yeah, exactly. We all that's really the main goal that we all have, and you can't control the results. And it's really easy to worry too much about the results. But if you can get to the point where you can relax, hit your best shot, and forget about what happens, the end result, that's the player who usually does well under pressure in tournaments.
Henry, you've obviously had a lot of experience in golf in your life, from, playing through school to caddying to doing all of your amateur tournaments. Obviously, everybody can know and hear and see why, or what I have done to keep golf in my life, but what have you done to keep golf in your life kind of after all the mandatory stuff?
Man, everything. Golf is everything to me, and I'll do everything I can in my power to keep playing golf as much as I can. I would say the main thing is just I kept caddying after college, graduated with a marketing degree, and could have gone and gotten a normal job or a more traditional job, but caddying allows me to be around the game constantly, and more importantly, it allows me to play golf for free. So
most importantly.
Yeah, most importantly, for sure. And my bosses, if they heard this, they'd be like, yeah, we know. So
It's
Yeah,
factored into your wage.
yeah, just working in golf is really the biggest thing for me.
Well, so speaking of work, you are the founder and creator of realgolfers.co, and you've got some really awesome shirts that are made of really high quality materials with cool designs. So why don't you tell us how this all came about?
This came about mainly because I never really had as nice a golf shirts as I wanted. And there was a day where I realized, like, of the 50 or 60 golf shirts I had, every single one was either a shirt that I'd won in a golf tournament or a shirt that I'd gotten from a golf course I worked at. And I realized the reason is just they're too expensive. I never wanted to spend 90 bucks on a shirt that I was going to get sweaty in, and I was going to buy another one like a month later. So I didn't want to spend all that money on one shirt. And I realized a lot of my friends kind of have the same mindset. And I looked into it. It's actually not too expensive to make these shirts, and it's pretty viable to sell them for an affordable price. And on top of all that, golf is such an exclusive game already. When in reality, it could be the most inclusive game of all time because anyone can play it. Doesn't matter how old you are, how big you are, how fast you are. None of that matters. Anyone can play it. So I thought selling affordable high-end golf shirts would be a good place to get started in making golf more inclusive because it's the game I love and I want everyone to enjoy it. It really doesn't need to be so expensive for golf shirts. It just doesn't have to be.
Yeah, and so I guess when you come to realgolfers.co, you're going to see a lot of cool designs. How did you come through that process in terms of selection, creation, and all that jazz?
With this most recent collection, the Jester collection, the one that you're wearing and the one that I'm wearing, I designed them myself. I used Adobe Illustrator, which is way more robust than I expected it to be. It was a bit of a learning process just to design some simple patterns, but I looked at golf shirts that I've had in the past that I really liked and sort of drew inspiration from those, and I designed it on Adobe Illustrator, sent it over to my supplier, and they made it happen.
Nice. Yeah, because I guess I don't know about the clothing industry and how stuff is made and all that jazz, but the printing on this, it doesn't look like it's dye print. Is it laser printed onto the fabrics?
It's called sublimation. So it's a process where they like heat up the inks like so much that it literally just goes right into the shirt.
Huh. Nice. So the nice part there is that it's the kind of ink that doesn't fade, I guess is what I'm really getting at.
Yeah,
So,
exactly. It doesn't fade. It's not like stitched in there, so it's not going to feel weird while you're moving around playing golf.
yep. Yeah, you don't feel all the back of the seams, on
Right.
your arm or on your chest.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
For you, where did this drive to make golf more inclusive come from?
So I actually don't know if I've ever told anybody this. I was listening to a podcast about Damon John. He's one of the sharks on Shark Tank.
Yep, FUBU.
And he's the creator of FUBU, which is for us, by us. So he started that brand because it was the early 90s, I think, maybe late 80s, and people in the hip hop community didn't really have a brand of their own. So he started that and made it affordable for them and made it accessible for them and made it about them. So that's kind of where the name and the idea come from. Real golfers, in my opinion, real golfers are people who just love to play. It doesn't matter if they have a ton of money, doesn't matter where they play, it doesn't even matter what they wear. It's just people who love playing golf. And I think about 90% of those people can't afford to spend X amount on a super nice golf shirt, but they want to have nice golf shirts too, just like the guys I caddy for. So that was probably the biggest inspiration for getting this company going. Just making a brand that's for all golfers.
I really like that because honestly, and I'm not blowing smoke up your ass, that was the first thing I thought of. It made me think of FUBU. I'm like,
yeah, that's awesome. I love it.
It took me a while for it to click. I think it was probably the second time I was on your site. I'm like, oh, I get it. Real golfers. It's real golfers making clothing for other real golfers.
That's awesome. I love to hear that.
It made me think of FUBU instantly. So that's very, very cool. So realgolfers.co is the website. Any other things you'd like to add? Where can people learn more if they want to read about you guys and your story?
Yeah, so if you're on Instagram, follow us at Real Golfers Co. That's our main platform. We post golf tips, mostly mental stuff that I help people I caddy for with. And on top of that, we started a caddy blog on the website. So it's me talking to different caddies about their experiences caddying at the Ocean course or other courses. Last week I did my friend Kenny, who has caddied on tour, on the Corn Ferry Tour, LPGA, PGA, as well as 7 years at the Ocean course. And we sort of just compared and contrasted the differences between what he's doing with the big boys out there on the PGA Tour and with the 20 handicappers at the Ocean course. And next week we're doing, we have one female caddy at the Ocean course. So we're doing a caddy blog about her, getting a little female
Very
perspective
cool.
on.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's on the website. It's under the caddy blog, but I would say follow us on Instagram at Real Golfers Co.
Go check out realgolfers.co, snag yourself a shirt. They got some really sick ones on sale as well. So do yourself a favor and open your eyes to a new brand that I think will be coming on strong here. So thank you so much, Henry. I appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I enjoyed talking to you.